All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Please rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thanks for coming this evening. Go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Guyer.
Here.
Trustee Spurling. Trustee Bauman.
Here.
Trustee Youngerman.
Here.
Trustee Marisak.
Here.
Trustee Betzinger.
Here. All right, perfect. We do have a quorum this evening. Roll right into public participation. Is there anybody in the audience wishing to make public comment this evening? All right, hearing nothing, nobody in the audience. Is there anybody on Zoom that has raised their hand that would like to make public comment? I see only Judy and John. And then did anybody submit written?
Nobody submitted anything.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on. We have 4 items for consent. I'll read the items and entertain a motion for approval. Minutes of the Village Board meeting of May 9th, 2022. Accounts payable through May 23rd, 2022. The refuse report for April of 22. And affirmation of the Montgomery Police 10 shared principles.
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
All right, moving on to items for separate action this evening. The first one is approval of a guaranteed maximum price of $15.8 million for construction of the new Public Works facility. Director Wolf.
Thank you, President Browley. As the Village of Montgomery continues to work through the construction of the new Public Works facility, village staff and members of the build team have been working to identify all costs, saving measures through valued enhancements in an effort to keep the project within the village's budget. As many of us are aware, costs of many daily items such as gas, groceries, and others have escalated in price and continue to climb. Much is the same for the materials and services that are required to construct the new facility and have brought challenges to the project. After the Village Board approved contracts from multiple bid releases, the last of which was in February, the February 28th meeting, village staff, Camozzi, Williams, and IMEG have been working extremely hard to identify all available means and methods of construction and product substitutes that would typically not be considered as necessary to do, but during these ordinary times are the case. The process has been difficult, but the need for the facility to appropriately accommodate staff of the Public Works Department is great. Staff and the build team feel confident in the proposed guaranteed maximum price that is being presented tonight for the total construction cost of the project, and would like to recommend that $15.8 million be approved as the guaranteed maximum price for this project. Todd Perrone from Camozzi Construction, the village's construction manager, is here, as well as myself, to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. Questions?
Do you have any thought or idea or estimate at the non-covered costs in that 15.8 number?
I'll let Todd address that.
Hey, Todd.
Turn it on.
That's a good, yeah, green light means go, right? Sorry about that. Yes, there are several contingencies within the budget to cover unsuitable soil conditions. We do have another contingency that if we have to cross the rails with railroad spur line with utilities, we have a contingency for that. We also have a contingency for the increase in roofing material prices, which still cannot be nailed down until we actually take the order. So there's those, and then we have a general contingency, which we add them all together, it's right around $894,000, I do believe.
So that, the 15.8 includes more items than covered by the GMP, right? Because there's a bunch of stuff that's excluded, right?
The things that are excluded, and I'll use an example, winter conditions. Right now, with the schedule being a little bit up in the air, it's a little bit difficult to quantify that in any way, shape, or form. So that will be part of that contingency at that time. And other than that, the other exclusions would be architectural fees, engineering fees, those types of things, which are covered in other budgets.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, go ahead.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
And that carries 5-0. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
All right, item B this evening is award of lease to Messer for a monthly payment of $1,000 with an upfront cost of $30,000 for 8 years of the lime softening water treatment plant carbon dioxide modifications.
Thank you, President Browley. The Village of Montgomery currently uses carbon dioxide in the treatment process of the village's lime softening water treatment plant. The plant was constructed in 1990. The original CO2 system is still intact and has reached the end of its life cycle. Public Works staff has been working to secure cost estimates with considerations to direct purchase and leasing of a new CO2 system. After evaluating both and taking into consideration that the village is moving to Lake Michigan water through DuPage Water Commission, staff is recommending board approval for the leasing of the new carbon dioxide system from Messer North American Incorporated at this time for an upfront cost of $30,000 and a monthly cost of $1,000 lease per month. The total budget for this project is $85,000. There are other costs associated that will be conducted through subcontractors and public works staffing, which consist of crane services and rigging, a new concrete pad to accommodate the new specifications for the system, and protective concrete bollards. With all of those taken into consideration, staff is projecting that the total project will come in underneath the budgeted $85,000. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Thank you.
Is there going to be a charge for removal at the end of the lease?
Yes, the lease will at the termination of the lease at the eight-year period, Messer will remove that unit at that time as
Okay.
part of it.
Would there be a charge for that cost, or no?
The only charges that we would have would be the disconnection of power and the line that goes to it, which again would be something that we would conduct in-house.
Okay, perfect. I'll
So
make
the
a motion.
80 is inclusive of everything, the new pad, all the setup.
Correct.
Takedown, and then the 96,000 is the monthly term that we'll end up paying over the course of the 8 years, right?
There's a 1,000, yes.
So
yes.
it's, right, so it's 80 for setup and then a $96,000 lease is what we're agreeing to.
Yes, yeah.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
Carries 5-0, thank you. All right, item C this evening is purchase of the Flow Point Environmental Systems, Inc. for a bulk water dispensing station. Go ahead.
Thank you, President Browley. In 2015, the village purchased a bulk water fill station that was installed in front of the Public Works Building at 891 Nell. Since that time, staff has seen the benefits of the station and the accuracy in accounting for water that is sold to bulk water customers, which is a demand that continues to rise. As utility companies continue to improve infrastructure, most of which is done through directional drilling, new utilities underground, which requires large amounts of water. This is only one task that customers purchase bulk water for in the Village of Montgomery, but is one that requires or has been known to be a large contributor to the sale of bulk water. As construction projects, maintenance, and other tasks require high volumes of water continue, staff is recommending the purchase and installation of a second station to be installed near the police department and the village's Well 15 facility. This location will offer customers easy access to the station due to large trucks and equipment that are used for their applications. The system will work directly with the existing software used by the current station, as well as the current utility billing software. The cost of the station is $44,876.96. The total budget for the project is $60,000. Other tasks that will need to be completed for the installation will be performed by subcontractors and Public Works. So tonight, staff is recommending the approval of the purchase of the bulk water fill station from Flowpoint Environmental Systems for the amount of $44,876.96. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
I'd really like to see the last two, and I wrote that note for Jeff, you're estimating the remainder of the project. I'd like to see that estimate typically with this, so we can ensure that the entire thing is under budget,
Sure.
but just for future.
With the addition of this new station, is it our intent to discontinue the use of hydrant meters?
So the intent with the original station was to reduce, and this second station would greater reduce the granting of applications for those who come in for leases. But there are still going to be extraordinary circumstances where it's just going to be unrealistic for contractors to be able to transport that water from the bulk station. They'll need that live on demand. But again, it's to greatly reduce it is the overall goal.
Be the exception, not the rule.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
All right, that carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, item D this evening is award of contract to Olson in the amount of $99,975 for the Public Works re-roofing. Go ahead.
Thank you, President Browley. The Public Works Department completes an annual building evaluation of each village-owned facility each year prior to proposing the following year's budget requests. During previous evaluations, the roofing system of the original Public Works building was identified for replacement and scheduled to be completed in fiscal year 2023. The existing roofing system is original to the building constructed in 1974 and has reached the end of its lifespan. The village board approved the purchase of roofing materials and labor for the roofing system for the new Public Works building at the December 13th meeting, which consisted of materials and labor purchased through the TIPS Purchasing Cooperative. The TIPS Purchasing Cooperative allows the village to purchase these materials and labor directly through Olson Roofing Company, an authorized TIPS contractor. Olson Roofing Company is a local contractor that has performed work for the village of Montgomery in the past and has done so in a satisfactory manner. Given the current market and issues with product availability in regards to roofing materials, staff is recommending the approval of the PW re-roofing contractor to be awarded to Olson Roofing through the TIPS Cooperative. And I also wanted to mention that there was included in the packet was a memo that Attorney Julian had submitted in the last submittal to use TIPS that basically gave a little bit of knowledge of the TIPS Cooperative and how it complies with Illinois state law for bidding. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
Perfect. So do we need a bid waiver for this or no?
You do not, because it has gone through the
It
cooperative.
has actually been bid already. Okay. It's a simple majority. Any questions for Mark?
Yeah, and I'm still unclear as why this wasn't bid out versus just being part of the TIPS program.
So there's a few different reasons as why we chose not to use traditional bidding. Number one is that Olson is in a position where they have the material in stock. We've recently received notice from Olson directly through Firestone, who's a manufacturer of roofing products, that effective June 1st, this pricing for materials is going up dramatically. So by utilizing the TIPS cooperative, we're getting the pricing that is available now, and we're not going to be subject to going out to bid. The other thing that we took into consideration is the amount of staff time that's involved in formulating the RFP, when essentially the TIPS cooperative basically handles that portion of it for us and making sure that the bids are competitive and fall into state law.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman,
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman. Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
And that carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, item E this evening is a PSA with EEI for preliminary and design engineering for the Concord Drive resurfacing STP in the amount of $70,022. Director Wolf?
Thank you, President Brawley. Through the village's 5-year road program evaluation, Concord Drive was evaluated and ranked in a condition that warranted resurfacing. Due to Concord Drive being classified as an FAU route, it allows the village the ability to apply for Surface Transportation Program money, or STP funds, through King County. The funding source allows for the village to apply for up to $750,000 cost share for construction and construction engineering fees. The village has currently applied for this funding for the project and currently ranks 10th out of 37 submittals. The target letting for this project is April of 2023, and we will need to move forward with the PSA for the preliminary and design engineering for the Concord resurfacing, as this is the responsibility of the village and is not eligible for the cost share. This agreement will allow for staff to start the process in getting the project ready for bidding for the April 23rd letting, as I had mentioned, and potentially performing the construction in June or July of 2023. This timeframe is being targeted due to the fact that schools will not be in session during the time of construction, and that Concord Drive is a highly traveled road for school buses. Therefore, staff is recommending the approval of the PSA with Engineering Enterprises for the amount of $70,022, which is under the budgeted amount for this portion of the project. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
I have a question. You had mentioned that we're 10 out of 37 or 36 or something?
Correct.
What do you mean? Are we like 10th best or?
So the way that, Engineer Ott can probably provide a little bit more since he has sat in on a lot of these meetings, but there are 37 total projects that were in the queue that were submitted, so our project was ranked 10th, but there are different periods in time in which each project calls for funding to be available, so that can change that slotting too. So that's why it's important that we're ready to go and we've got our preliminary engineering done, so that way when our, let's say our number is called, we're ready to go.
And should our number not be called, then what happens?
So just to add on what Mark said, so like Mark said, we're 10th out of 37, but that's just one portion of it. Then there's when you ask for the money too, the draft program should be coming out in June and will be voted on by the King-Kendall Council of Mayors in July. So we'll know for sure whether the project will be funded in July. I would say if we do the engineering and we don't, then we have the engineering ready for if we get moved up from the contingency list, if there's more money available, or we would move forward with just funding it locally and the engineering is done at that point. There's a little bit of additional effort that's needed to get it through SCP as opposed to if we were doing it on ourselves, but you'd have to spend the money no matter what, whether you did it yourselves or not.
Is there a time frame on the usefulness of that engineering? Should that be pushed off? Should we not find the money locally, that kind of?
I mean, generally, I would think that the engineering would be good. The only thing is you might have to add in some contingency for extra curb or sidewalk from when we walk it. You know, we're gonna walk it this summer. There's a chance over the winter there could be more issues that arise.
And Chris, what's the total project cost? Not for the design, but for construction? Do you know
The
that?
total project cost is a little over $1 million, so you'll be maxed out on your $750,000, and the village's portion will be somewhere in the $250,000 to $300,000 range.
Okay, awesome.
Motion to approve?
Second. Go ahead.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
Carries 5-0, thank you. All right, item F is award of a contract to SKC Construction, Inc., in the amount of $53,130.60 for the 2022 village-wide seal coating program. Director Wolf?
Actually, Engineer Wallers,
He was looking right at me, and I was like, Director Wolf?
He wanted to give me a break.
Popular-
I've been
It's a
going,
popular item, so
been going for so
everybody
long.
wants-
Excited about
wants
it?
to be in on it, you know, that's the way it is. So this is part of the village's pavement management system. We do maintenance on our parking lots, drives, and the bike paths on a rolling 3-year timeframe. So we try to do the parking lots every 3 years. We do the bike paths at a different schedule, but same basic concept. We try to get to them every 5 years to make sure that we preserve our pavement as best we can. So this year's program included the Village Hall parking lot, well 1415, Fairfield Lift Station, Horseman Trail, Booster Station, the Fairfield Elevated Storage Tank, and the Ogden Lift Station and Booster Pumping Station. So project came in under budget, and we had budgeted amount of about $72,000. The actual cost is $53,130,060. Staff recommends approval of the contract and award of the contract to SK Contractors.
When are they going to do the work? Over the summer
Yeah,
at some point? Okay.
yes.
What was the variance in the budget amount and the actual contract amount? I mean, that's,
So the budget amount was 72,000. I don't know what that percentage is, but it's pretty significant.
yeah, that's what I was asking. It just seemed to,
Yeah, about 22, well, 22%, 26%, depending on which.
yeah, was there anything in particular that stood out as that came in compared to the estimate? Did we just estimate high? What's the,
Well, I mean, sometimes, well, go ahead if you want to comment on that, because
you should have just sat here.
I know.
I would say that we probably just estimated a little bit high with some of the cost inflation that's been going on. We were estimated on the high side, and then we required the seal coating for the parking lots and the wells to be done on the weekend, so it's a little bit hard to determine what the price is gonna be on that sometimes.
Upcharge for that.
Yeah, so you'll see in there that the cost on the weekend is higher than the bike pass, because that'll get done during the week.
All right, thank you.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, go ahead.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
Okay, that carries 5-0, thank you. All right. Item G this evening is ordinance 1961, granting a special use for outdoor storage and variations. Listed, this is second reading. Go ahead.
Thank you. As President Brawley said, this is second reading. For those of you who weren't at the last meeting, we did not have anybody from the public to get up to speak at the meeting. The board that was present accepted the Plan Commission recommendation. There were not major issues with the proposed special use. There was some discussion between the board and the petitioner about the type of trees to use in the screening and the staggering of the trees. With that, staff doesn't have anything new to add, so we'd answer any questions you have. Yes, their attorney is here if there are questions.
Okay. I had a couple of questions. I just called Sonia directly. I was inquiring about the lighting on the back of the building and how that would look, but she answered my concerns. Any other questions?
Motion
Okay.
approve. Second.
Second? Go ahead and call the roll.
Trustee Marisak.
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger.
Yes.
Trustee Guyer.
Yes.
Trustee Bauman.
Yes.
Trustee Youngerman.
Yes.
That carries 5-0. Thank you. Thanks, sir. All right, the last one, ordinance, this is item H, ordinance 1967, proposing the establishment of SSA number 42 for Ricky Rocket subdivision. This is first reading of that.
Yes, so this is the beginning of the special service area process for the Ricky Rocket subdivision, which is actually the gas and wash development. This ordinance just starts the process and establishes the date for the public hearing. So what will happen is upon the passage of this ordinance, there's a 60-day period prior to the public hearing taking place. The public hearing will take place, and then there's a 60-day objection period thereafter where people can submit any comments or anything regarding the special service area. And then after the passage of that 60 days is when you could pass the ordinance establishing the special service area. So it is a process. However, this just starts that time clock running and allows us to hold the public hearing and then to ultimately pass the ordinance. And then, if you'll recall, this is compliant with the King County Stormwater Ordinance, to ensure that all those means are taken care of as well. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I have one. If anyone were to have question or comment, is there a prescribed method to submit that comment? Can that be an email, a voicemail? Is there a particular way to leave comment?
Well, typically the comment would be it depends if they just have a comment or if they actually wanted to file a formal objection. There is a formal objection process in which they would have to have a certain number of property owners. I believe it's over 50% of those in that special service area signing on to comment. However, any general comment, of course, we can take at any time. And they have until between the public hearing and the establishing ordinance to do so.
Thank you.
Since this is the beginning of this process, why is it so referenced to as the Ricky Rockets?
Because that is the name of the subdivision.
I thought that was the company that.
It was.
But they
It was.
pulled out,
They
Yes.
did,
correct?
correct, but the
The actual
subdivision,
But the name
document was
stays.
named that and it was recorded.
correct.
So, yeah, imagine being the new guy. So, all right, and it doesn't really matter. Once it gets approved, nobody ever knows what it is. But this does set the public hearing date, or when we act on this, we'll set the public hearing date for July 25th, right?
Correct, and then, yeah,
And then I know it's a lengthy process that largely the residents, the public don't generally have a huge issue with it. This is actually a really good thing for the people in the area, but, okay. All right, any comments on this? We can add this to consent and see what Teresa has to say about that for future meeting. Okay. We don't have anything for discussion. Is there anything new or unfinished?
I just want to say that I thought the Coffee with the Cops was a nice event last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago over at Outravet. So thank you to your staff and everyone who was there and present and allowing the public to come by and talk and look, and got a picture of my kid in the back of a cop car, so that's outstanding. But it was good. We enjoyed that event. So thanks for the village and the police department for hosting that.
Ditto. Anything else? Okay. We don't have executive session. You can see the future meetings. The next village board meeting we have will be on June 13th at 7 PM in this room. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Go ahead.
Trustee Youngerman? Yes. Trustee Marisak?
Yes.
Trustee Betzinger? Trustee Guyer?
Yes.
Trustee Bauman?
Yes.
And we're adjourned. Thank you.